All right, hello everybody. My name is Alyssa Sarmiento and I'm part of the webinar team here at AppDynamics. I wanted to welcome you to today's webinar titled Achieve Rapid Diagnostics with new AI-powered root cause analysis. A few housekeeping items before we get started. First, I am obligated to share this legal notice slide. Note that the materials presented today is proprietary information of AppDynamics, and no part of the materials may be reproduced, distributed, communicated, or displayed in any form without prior written permission from the company. So there's that. There's a few other things in there, but for now, we'll continue on. Moving on, note that the console you are looking at is completely customizable. Feel free to explore the widgets that are at the bottom of your screen. You can also move or resize any of the windows you see open by dragging the bottom right corner. This will be useful as we go into the demonstration, so definitely enlarge the slide view at that time if needed. For the best viewing experience, we recommend using a wired internet connection and closing any programs or browser sessions running in the background that could cause issues. Webinars can be bandwidth intensive, so closing any unnecessary browser tabs can help conserve your bandwidth. We know that most of you are probably on Wi-Fi. It's still totally fine. Most people don't have issues, but we do see that just in case you do see it, that could probably be why. And if you've done all these things and you're still experiencing issues, whether it's with sound or the screen seems frozen, please refresh your browser, as that will usually fix any console issues. And if you continue to have issues, feel free to reach out to us through the Q&A widget that's on the left side of your screen, and I'll help out there. And speaking of the Q&A widget, we invite you to submit any questions you have during the webinar through there, and we'll answer as many as possible at the end of the presentation. In addition, you should see a survey widget on the bottom of your screen. Before the close of the webinar, we invite your thoughts and feedback on the webinar so that we can better serve topics that you'll continue to be interested in the future. And lastly, this webinar will be recorded and you'll receive a link to the recording by the end of the day. Feel free to share the recording with your colleagues. And with that, I'll hand it over to our speakers today.
Thank you, Alyssa. I am Shreyans Parekh, Senior Manager of Product Marketing at AppDynamics, and I'm going to walk you through AIOps and the AppDynamics Cognition Engine today. I will be followed by Rob Bolton, Product Manager for APM here at AppDynamics, who's going to walk you through a demo of our Cognition Engine capabilities and what's to come. Now let's get started. So we gave you a preview of how managing the user experience and application performance can no longer be a manual task. As we said, the digital transformation is happening today, and ITSM is expected to be the fastest growing application in the AIOps platform market. If you don't embrace the digital transformation, you are certainly at the risk of your business platform and your overall business being at the risk of extinction. AIOps, like DevOps, is a journey that requires a transformation, and for DevOps teams who need swift diagnostics for application performance anomalies, Cognition Engine is the AI core of the AppDynamics platform. So the AIOps is growing and being adopted very rapidly. We see that what's more impressive is that it is expected to increase to $11 billion in the next 4 years. What's causing this rapid growth, you ask? Well, one, we cannot be as reactive anymore as we have been. Two, the digital transformation is happening. Three, AIOps, like DevOps, is a journey that requires a transformation. And let's have a closer look as to why this has become a necessity. In less than 20 years, we went from a few data centers to a web of complex, interconnected technologies to deliver the digital experience of today, and its complexity is not shrinking any day soon. When there's a problem for an end user, where do you start? Managing the user experience and application for performance can no longer be a manual task. Complexity is exploding, scale is enormous, and the chaos is much too complex for humans to manage. Siloed teams are solving siloed problems. Does this image look familiar to you? That's the problem everyone can relate to in this picture. We have all been there, and that is precisely why human intervention is not the best way or the most productive way or cost-effective way to solve issues within our infrastructures. These siloed tools continue into the war room. In the DevOps war room, there are networks, servers, database, IT technical metrics are all green. In the business war room, there are no pricing changes, no design changes, no marketing changes. Meanwhile, conversion rates go down and the problem still is not identified. This can be a very costly situation. So we would like to introduce the AIOps mindset. We must adopt the AIOps mindset, which means using artificial intelligence and machine learning to derive real-time insights, trigger actioning systems, and automate operations. It's a philosophy that values prediction over reaction, answers over investigation, and action over analysis. And much like we experienced with DevOps, AIOps will require a cultural change within the organization to drive agility. With AIOps, we will move from siloed monitoring tools, emergency war rooms, countless debugging tasks, and large operation centers. So we need to adopt an overall AIOps mindset, but we cannot do so unless we look at what that really means. So AIOps is equal to AI applied to IT ops, with the ultimate goal of providing autonomous IT systems. It's an autonomous IT system vision that has been around for as long as time, now possible because of maturing big data technologies, advances in AI, and AI is as good as the data that feeds it. You need visibility across the IT domains and data types, such as event, log, and time series. You also need cross-domain visibility, or APM, digital experience monitoring, infrastructure, your network, security. You need visibility across all of these. Now, AI and ML, specialized for IT ops, is used to gain insight and separate signal from noise. For instance, we now have pattern discovery, topology, reconciliation, anomaly detection, recommendations, and predictive analysis as just some of the many different valuable capabilities that AI and ML provide today. Our central nervous system vision embraces these concepts and paves the way for autonomous IT systems. We are in the best position ever to deliver because this is what we're able to provide. So with Cisco, we provide broader visibility into domains that the enterprise needs, and only Cisco and AppDynamics can provide that visibility at scale and in real time. This is our central nervous system. It's very similar to how the central nervous system in the body takes input from all the senses and coordinates action throughout the human body. The Cisco and AppDynamics AIOps strategy is to deliver the central nervous system for IT operations. Let's think about this for a second. A central nervous system for IT. How is this going to change the way you do business? AppDynamics started with this application, but by adding infrastructure, network, and security data coming from Cisco and third-party information from other systems, we are now able to get even richer visibility. Now, let's take a close look at the technology stack. The ML AI engine continues to baseline performance, detect anomalies, automate root cause analysis, and predict future performance. This enables us to provide clarity for our customers in the chaos of all of this data and drive automated root cause analysis. Now let's take an example of a mobile banking app used to transfer money. I believe that this is a story we can all relate to with all of you on the webinar today. We can trace this money transfer transaction every step of the way across the IT environment from the end user's mobile app through application services, databases, clouds, and network. We correlate the telemetry of each of these domains in the context of this single banking transaction. This precision allows us to understand how each of the tech stack is impacting the user's experience in real time. Now we no longer have to take a look at each technology area in isolation. We can bring all of the puzzle pieces together and give our customers the full picture of how the business transaction went. Now, trust. We automate the mundane tasks and then get more sophisticated over time. The next step is to take action on the insights we derived to remediate problems, prevent issues before they happen, and optimize the operating environment. Initially, user provides feedback after some time, and then the user can decide to trust. With ML, these actions will continuously adapt to the changing business conditions. In the world of AI ops, every customer can move at their own pace. Believe it or not, the CNS vision is already implemented in AppDynamics. In our first version, we limited the ingest to our own APM agent so that we could focus on AI ML most valuable use cases, which is reducing MTTR for critical applications. The difference with vision is our examples of agent versus open ingest API, the correlation engine, and limited sets of actions. The differences with our previous AppDynamics platform offering is zero configuration, baselining all metrics, and the ability to automatically detect root cause. Now, what is the most valuable modern commodity today? That will be time. Every minute equates to a dollar value. Spend time, spend money. Save time, save money. During troubleshooting, the most time, around 60%, is in root cause analysis and mean time to detection. Now, speed up the mean time detection and mean time to knowing, and then you have the real impact on the business. You need to discover that there is a problem in a timely manner. So, in the Rise of AIOps survey conducted in 2018 of around 6,000 global IT leaders, we found that 58% find out from users calling or emailing their organization's help desk if there's an issue. 55% find out if there's an issue from an executive or non-IT team member at their company who alerts the IT department. And 38% of users find out from 38% of issues are found out from users posting on social networks. And you simply don't want an issue to be posted to a social network like Twitter or Facebook as your mechanism for finding out about issues. MTTR for a severity 1 issue is around 7 hours. And this means that on average, the cost of such an issue on the business is over $400,000 for enterprises in the US. The simple fact is that for any business today, application performance equals business performance. Many of our customers are already connecting monitoring and actioning systems together to drive automation. One great example is Barclays, who is a major UK bank and has been using an AppDynamics for over 3 years now. They have seen significant reduction in disruptive tech incidents across their 750 plus applications. They started with mobile apps and began focusing on incident avoidance, spotting trends, deviations, logs, code issues, and others to stop the issues from occurring. They automate mundane tasks that their team don't like doing. And as a result, they've saved over 1,000 man-hours, which are now being repurposed for new innovative projects. As a result, Jamie Norburn, the head of service management, said that they, quote, really changed application management from reactive to proactive, end quote. He believes that through artificial intelligence and automation, the systems will sense that something is going on and self-correct. AI ops will be a game changer for their digital proposition. Now, let's dive into talking specifically about Cognition Engine. When we talk initially about Cognition Engine, we're talking about the automatic detection of anomalies in business transaction performance. We also are talking about AI-driven root cause analysis, identifying the top suspected causes. So here we can see screenshots from the user interface. And Rob Bolton will be going over the demo of Cognition Engine shortly. Cognition Engine is used to really pinpoint deviating performance, isolate resource problems, and respond with automated actions. The AppDynamics is expanding its library of robust ML models. Our ML technology learns from the data in real time and continuously adapts to maintain high-quality behavior profiles that are specific to each metric collected, not just generic policy rules that are blindly applied. Further, leveraging different kinds of specialized ML models enable us to detect anomalies that matter in real time and at scale. We use streaming technology, researching and inventing new algorithms that can train and analyze the data in real time as the data enters the system instead of at rest, after it has been stored and indexed in some kind of data lake. This enables us to detect problems minutes, even hours before the system that relies on traditional thresholding. So once you're in AppDynamics and you look at the dashboard, there are many alerts, and with a single click, automated RCA can take place. Using the AppD powerful business transaction model, the system identifies all relevant anomalies, and the product highlights the suspected cause. Next, the user can hover any suspected cause and immediately visualize the impacted systems. We call this the topological data analysis. We use AI to identify relevant alerts that are impacting the business transaction. The user can then drill down and the product will show all the relevant metrics, their expected behavior, and the health of the impacted business transaction path. The user can analyze and compare relevant systems and metrics and even drill down to the line of code where the problem is detected. The next step is providing an actionable recommendation that the user can then trigger via their code book to fix the problem. As you can see, this is where we move from ML to AI. We use a combination of algorithms to automatically analyze a situation. In a way, this is replicating how a human would troubleshoot, correlate, and highlight all the relevant data and what matters. Now, to summarize, we've covered a lot in the last several minutes, and I don't expect you to remember everything, but I definitely want you to walk away with knowing these three things. AI ops is a growing, expanding $11 billion market. Specialized AI for IT operations, or AI ops, is a necessity. And don't think of AI ops as a luxury. Think of it truly as a necessity for your organization. Number two, automated RCA is a key enabler for closing the loop and the CNS vision. And number three, Cisco plus AppDynamics and our vast domain knowledge and rich data set from the network, security, infrastructure, IoT, application, and business layers position us to help you during this new journey in the digital transformation era. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to bring it to Rob, who's going to perform the full demo of Cognition Engine so you can see it live in production.
Great, thank you, Shrey. Today I want to talk about anomaly detection and root cause analysis enabled by our Cognition Engine. I want to show you how we can quickly detect that there's an issue with the application. We'll then drill in and determine what the root cause is for this particular problem. And finally, I'll quickly demonstrate how you can enable anomaly detection and root cause analysis for your application. So let's start. This is the e-retail pass application. For those of you unfamiliar with AppDynamics, what we're looking at in the center of the screen here is called the application flow map. This flow map is created automatically when you install an AppDynamics agent. The AppDynamics agent automatically discovers the various components and how they communicate with each other. And so we can see in this demo app that we have a number of different Java services, as well as we've automatically discovered queues, some message queues, as well as Redis caches. Below the application flow map, we'll see that we have a number of KPIs. We have load, response time, and errors. We can notice here that we have an issue that's recently occurred. We can see that the response time has dramatically increased around 10:30, and it coincided with a drop in load. Now, at this point, we're not exactly sure what the issue is. We know that we have a problem with some of our KPIs. And so if we reference the right-hand side of the screen, we'll see a number of issues here. For those of you familiar with AppDynamics, you might notice where we have some health rule violations that started. We also have something new called an anomaly event. And so let's take a look at this. So what we can see here is that an anomaly has started. It started in the critical state on the business transaction checkout. And so now we can drill in and we can take a look at this particular anomaly, as well as we'll be able to determine why this anomaly occurred. So this is our new anomaly detection and root cause analysis screen. Let me take a second to walk through the high-level functionality we can see here. We can first see that the anomaly is now resolved. So it occurred at around 10:39 a.m. It transitioned to warning at 11:09, and it was resolved at 11:13 a.m. This timeline is interactive, so if I so desired, I could click into the transition state. Since it started at critical, we'll stay at the critical state. Going down the left-hand side here, we can see some basic information about why this anomaly occurred. So again, it occurred on the checkout transaction, and we can see that the following two metrics were deviating: 95th percentile as response time, as well as average response time. Moving down the left-hand side, we can see that we've identified two top suspected causes for why we think the 95th percentile and the average response time are deviating. And I'll drill into those in a second to show you how we're able to determine root cause. Farther down the screen, we can see that we have actions executed and transaction snapshots. So if you're familiar with AppDynamics and actions that can be associated with a policy, in this case, we've decided to send a HTTP notification to a Slack channel to alert someone that there's an issue with this particular application, this particular business transaction. AppDynamics has a variety of other actions that you can execute, sending an email, SMS messages, or integrations with third parties such as ServiceNow. Finally, we do have our transaction snapshots associated with this business transaction. So after viewing root cause, if you decide you'd like to get more context about the particular root cause, you could drill into individual transaction snapshots. Great. So let's take a look at the particular suspected causes. So here on the flow map, we can see that we have all the components here. We have a simplified version of this flow map, and we have a number of items or a couple items in red. And so if I hover over this, we can see that we think that this particular root cause is related to the payment service tier. And if I reference on the left-hand side this particular panel, I can see that we have a process CPU usage issue. So we think that the payment service has a CPU problem, and that's affecting this business transaction. The next potential suspected cause that we've identified is the order service, which relies on payment service. And it's saying that the order service makes calls to the payment service, and that's also been affected. So since we've identified this as the top root cause, let's drill into this particular issue and see what we can uncover. So at the top here, we have the timeline, and we can see that these are metrics associated with this business transaction. So again, we have the 95th percentile and the average response time. And we can see here that there's a gray bar going through, and this gray bar indicates what we expect the expected range to be of this particular metric. And we can see that the 95th percentile and the average response time are both very elevated. They're much higher than the gray bar. We can see here the gray bar is supposed to be about 500 to 700 milliseconds, when in fact it's roughly 1600 milliseconds. And we can see at around 11:05, again, that both of these metrics go within the normal expected range, and that's when the anomaly ends. So we now have a clear indication that we have a problem with both of these metrics. They're especially elevated. Now if we take a look, we can see some suspected cause metrics. So we can see that we have two metrics, process CPU used as well as process CPU burnt, on a particular node. And we can see that those metrics correspond and correlate very closely with the business transaction metrics. And so we now know that we have a particular process issue, that the CPU is being used, that's causing this particular tier to slow down, and in turn, that's causing this overall business transaction to slow down. So I'll just quickly recap here. We were able to drill into this business transaction. We could see that we detected an issue with the 95th percentile response time as well as the average response time. We drilled into the top suspected cause, and we can see that the payment service has a CPU issue. The CPU is at a very high level, and that's impacting the payment service, which the order service relies on, and that in turn is slowing down this business transaction. So now that I've shown you how we've walked through identifying an issue with the application and then identifying the root cause, let's quickly talk about how we can enable anomaly detection and root cause analysis for your application. So enabling anomaly detection and root cause analysis is very straightforward. If you come into Alert and Respond, you'll notice a new section called Anomaly Detection. If we click into Anomaly Detection, we'll see that we have a toggle here. We can turn this on and off. This enables anomaly detection for every single business transaction in your application. And so that's all you have to do. You have to enable anomaly detection, then this turns it on. There's no other configuration that's required. And you'll do that on a per application basis. And then again, once anomaly detection is enabled, you allow 24 to 48 hours for us to build up our machine learning models, and then we'll continually monitor and alert you when there are issues with your particular business transactions. And as I've shown you, the anomaly events are very similar to health rule violations, so you'll see them appear in the event tabs. You can associate them with policies and have actioning, such as we saw with the integration into Slack. Great, well that's all I have for today on anomaly detection and root cause analysis. I look forward to answering questions. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much, Rob. That was a great demo, and thank you, Shrey, for your presentation earlier. And so we are in the Q&A portion of the event. There has been a lot of questions that have come through from the audience during it, and so I just want to make sure to let you all know that we may not be able to get to your question right away. And so if not, don't worry, we will definitely answer every question that is unanswered. We'll answer it offline. And so might as well just get started here. The first question is for you, Rob. We got a lot of questions about this, and so I'll just answer it. I'll just ask it once. Is this available for SaaS and on-premise?
So currently this is available for SaaS. That's the rollout that we've done, and we are diligently working to make it available for on-premises customers as well. We hope to have an update and timeline on that soon.
Great, thanks, Rob. Okay, the next one, I'll direct this one to you, Shrey. How can I learn more about the Cognition Engine and AppDynamics' AI and ML capabilities?
Sure. Thanks, Alyssa. So there are a number of resources available for you to learn more about Cognition Engine. We have demos available that you can view of the Cognition Engine. We have of course, the deck and presentation that you just saw that's going to be available. And as we continue to launch new features within our Cognition Engine, we will ensure that you are on the email list to receive email updates about these updates. In addition, we're going to be launching self-paced labs. We're going to be launching additional demos, so stay tuned to learn more.
And are those demos going to be like community, or are they like just meant for customers?
Yeah, so they're going to be available on our community. and they're going to be available for all current customers.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ray. All right. Rob, something for you. How do I get this enabled on my controller? So this is someone who is a customer already.
Sure. So there's a requirement on the controller version. So you have to have a controller version of 4.5.7.2 or above. And so you can follow your normal process and work with the account team or SaaS operations to get the controller upgraded. And then there is the SaaS operations folks will enable the controller with anomaly detection, and then you're all set to go.
Great. Thank you. All right. Shrey, another one for you. Will we be able to, how will we be able to hover any suspected cause and immediately visualize the impacted system?
Sure. So what we have in place is we have what's called, managing the user experience for Cognition Engine will be quite seamless. We have a topology in place where you can easily hover over any of the suspected anomalies and then be able to immediately get the information that you need in real time. And so it is, it's all part of the seamless interface that we are putting in place for Cognition Engine now.
Great, thank you. Okay, Rob, a question for you. So this person has a lot of clients with legacy platform or protocols. How can they monitor this type of legacy infrastructure?
Sure, great question. So the Cognition Engine is agnostic in terms of what protocols and infrastructure we look at. So if you leverage one of our agents, for example, you might leverage the C++ SDK, that will push information and data into the Cognition Engine, and it will discover and detect anomalies, regardless of what the underlying application infrastructure is.
Great, thank you. Okay. Shrey, this one is for you. How is AppDynamics best positioned to pave the way for autonomous IT systems?
Sure. So AppDynamics, along with Cisco, provides broad visibility into domains that the enterprise needs and at scale and in real time. So the Cisco and AppDynamics have cumulatively painted an AIOps strategy to deliver what we're calling the central nervous system for IT operations. And AppDynamics starts with the application, but by adding the infrastructure, network, and security data coming from Cisco, along with third-party information, we are now able to get even richer visibility. And so this really differentiates us against our competitors and peers in the market.
Great, thanks, Shrey. Another question for Rob. Can you tie AIOps into your build pipeline to automate rollbacks of releases?
So currently, the Cognition Engine anomaly detection functions similar to how a house rule would work. So there is the ability to, when AppDynamics Cognition Engine detects an anomaly with a business transaction, take action on that via our policy and actioning method. So you could certainly automate that process in your build pipeline.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to just answer a few logistical questions just because there's a lot of questions that have come through and I want to give the speakers some time to just review them. There was a few people who did ask if a recording will be available. So if you did miss that intro piece, the answer is yes. You will all register. And so if you had some colleagues who signed up and they weren't able to attend, or if you want to just forward this on to your team, you will be able to get a link to the full recording by the end of the day. So look out for that. That will be coming in through an email. Okay, the next question is for Rob. Will the engine be limited to correlation within one application, or will it be able to correlate across multiple applications?
So the current rollout is limited to a business transaction and an individual application. A roadmap item is to look at cross-apps. So if your business transaction calls other applications that are monitored by AppDynamics, we do have a roadmap item to dive into those other applications and address those.
Thank you. There's a lot of questions about how do you get it, how, like, I don't see it. There is, just for the audience, for those who are customers, there is a link on the Resource Center. There's a few links on there, actually. So we have a link that's kind of more general about, like, learning about Cognition Engine, and there's also a link of, like, how to get Cognition Engine, which links to the docs. So that should be able to give you kind of some of the information that you're looking for. Okay, so moving on to more questions for Rob. In AppD definitions, how is an anomaly different from a health rule violation?
So they're fairly similar in the current iteration. We view the anomaly detection as more of a hands-off approach. We leverage ML algorithms to automatically determine when there's an issue. And one of the benefits of health rules is that you can customize it. So we have a number of customers, for example, that might have an SLA of a certain amount of time that they want to alert on. And so going forward, anomaly detection is a way to be alerted when there's issues that doesn't require any configuration, while still having the flexibility via health rules to define conditions that you want to set for your business transaction.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'm just looking through the Q&A, see what other questions. We do probably have time for maybe 2 to 3 more questions. So there's a lot. So I just want to also just make sure that we can answer things that most people want to hear and try to consolidate the questions. Here's one for Shrey. So in addition to the AppDynamics products offered for APM, what Cisco-specific products must be added to enable full AI capabilities?
Sure. So that's a pretty expansive question, actually, because so AppDynamics is going to be really spearheading Cognition Engine from the standpoint of providing the point of the spear for a lot of what Cisco does. In addition to utilizing AppDynamics, Cisco is accelerating AI with a lot of computing solutions that that has already been deployed in the marketplace. You can learn more about everything that Cisco is doing actually via the Cisco Solutions site for AI and ML. There's a lot of really good information there that points to Cisco using the advancements in Cisco infrastructure, what Cisco refers to as their UCS portfolio, which is partnering with partners like NVIDIA, which is, of course, a leader in AI computing. And so there's a lot of deep learning that you can do via the Cisco Data Center AI ML blog and community.
Great, thanks, Shrey. So this next question is for Rob, and I think after that, we may have time for one more. So Rob and Shrey, if you could look through and flag anything, and I'll ask that one for the last one. But this one is for you, Rob. Cognition Engine is part of a product, or do I need a license/module for a part of it? Yeah.
There is no additional licensing required for Cognition Engine. It's a core part of our troubleshooting for our APM. So assuming you have licenses for APM agents, it's included at no additional cost.
Great, thanks, Rob. So I do want to end with one more, and I'm going to choose, unless Rob or Shrey, you have a preference.
Go ahead, Alyssa.
Okay. Shrey?
So another really great question here, is Cognition Engine available for EUM or synthetics? So the answer to that is right now, the first features and capabilities that we launched are in APM. We are looking at expanding the capabilities of Cognition Engine through our full AppDynamics portfolio. With EUM and synthetics and our broader digital experience monitoring offering, we are going to be launching AI ML capabilities within those products as well. So stay tuned, through our product announcements as well as our community hub, because we will be launching our first features for those products shortly.
Great. I think that's a great way to end. So thank you guys. Thank you so much, Shrey. Thank you, Rob. You guys, as we can see from the audience, we know that this is super hot. A lot of you guys have very specific questions about your instances, and so we will definitely take a lot of these. Most of these questions are best suited for offline, which is why we didn't answer them here at this point. But again, please, if you have any other questions that you think of, please share them in this Q&A window. If we close and you think of questions afterwards, there will be a link, an email address to reply to when you get the follow-up email, or if you have a rep that you work with or a CSM, you can reach out to them as well. And so I really just want to thank everybody for your time this afternoon. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.